Off you
Good
go.
morning, thanks. Good morning, everyone. My name's Linda McIntosh, and I am the People Experience Lead at Auckland Transport. So I work in the Culture and Transformation team, which is your traditional HR department. And I have the privilege of being a product owner for our graduate program. We call that Ngā Kaihoe, and we actually redesigned the program last year after a huge human-centered design process with our current grads and with our leaders. And what we're wanting to do today is I won't go through too much detail in terms of the structure of the program, other than to say, obviously I'm biased and I think it's amazing. And it's all about offering graduates more opportunity, more exposure across our business, because our business is really dynamic. It's complex in a good way. And there's so much more opportunity here at Auckland Transport than you might imagine. And it's really difficult for us to actually, in a 1-hour meeting, share all of that with you. So what I'm going to do today is give the talking stick to Derek first, who works in our business technology team. So that's our IT team. And then obviously, he will talk to just a snippet of some of those opportunities, and we're really happy to pick up any additional conversations, or if you're wanting further information from there. And then I'll hand over to Harriet Glenn, who will talk to our integrated networks portfolio or function, and that's all about our capital programs of work. So all of the builds that we're doing around transport in Auckland, modal shift, some really cool stuff. So I won't steal their thunder. I'm sharing my screen with you at the moment, and that's our website. So there's a whole bunch of information on there. Please jump in there. We've actually got some videos, which are really cool, that talks to Auckland Transport and who we are, and it showcases our CEO, Shane Allison. We've got some videos from our current graduates in terms of how the program works, and we've also got some videos from our individual graduates talking about their journey and all that they've learned. So with that said, I'll hand over to Derek now. He'll introduce his role and the function and talk you through some case studies, and we'll do a Q&A at the end. How does that sound, Derek?
Awesome. Thanks, Linda. Hi, everyone. My name is Derek. I'm the computer vision manager of computer vision team at Auckland Transport. I work in the in the ITS team, which is Intelligent Transport System team. And now I'm going to share my screen with all of you. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. I'll start it from my first slide over here. Let me share my. So today I'm going to talk about the computer vision work at Auckland Transport, which is helping AT to build a safer and more efficient transport network. And then in this presentation, I will cover off some of the opportunities at Auckland Transport in business technology, and then I'll have a little introduction about CCTV and computer vision, and I will cover off a few use cases that we have done in AT, including the safety project, network performance and monitoring, and also enforcement projects. So Auckland Transport, for those who you don't know much about AT, was formed in 2010 when the transport functions of former councils and also the Auckland regional transport authorities were combined. And then the core responsibility of AT is to oversee road transport networks and the multimode public transportations, including the ferries, trains, buses, and cycling, and etc. People are talking about city of the future. We are building our future city vision, and we are always on the lookout for new and emerging technologies such as AI and computer vision, machine learning, etc. So CCTV computer vision is at the forefront of ITS, which is Intelligent Transport System Technologies. And then I will jump into more details about what computer vision and CCTV is exactly. But before that, I will cover off some of the opportunities that presented to you in the future at Auckland Transport in business technology. So business technology is another term of information technology. Actually, people in general would say that information technology, but in IT, we call it business technology. So it has a few teams, including the digital technology and delivery team, which is one of the biggest team in BT. Basically, this team deliver and support any applications and also technology solutions. So the project, the key project we are doing in this team, which is where I'm belonging to, so Metro and Hop team, and also intelligent transport team, including my team, computer vision team under this team, and then also customer and digital and ticketing and cloud application support. We also have another big team, which is corporate analytics team. It has a few, smaller teams, data science team, data analytics team, and then geospatial analytics team, and also some platforms and data governance teams as well. As of a general IT support, we also have the DevOps team, which and the information security team and digital architecture team to support our IT operations and delivery. This is really high level of what the teams are in IT and business technology. But if you want to really go to any details of any teams over here, we can hopefully have some time in the end to cover off that. So let's jump back to computer vision. So what is CCTV computer vision? For those, sometimes, computer vision might be a little quite new to you. So it's actually a technology, a subset of artificial intelligence, which automatically monitor video streams, through CCTVs. Basically, it means the surveillance cameras to recognize the images and videos to detect a wide range of predefined situations. So give you some outcomes of what CCTV computer vision can do. One thing is the real-time alerts. What it does is basically detect anything or any incident happens in the transport network in Auckland. For example, if a vehicle breaks down or any red light runners and or any incident happens in the transport, we can detect them in real time and report it to our operators, and then further actions can be taken in near real time. Another outcome of computer vision is about data connection. That's a huge amount of work we are doing over here, because previously the data connection was pretty much a manual process. Nowadays, we have changed it to automatic data connection procedure. So basically, for example, we want to count the vehicles traveling, the volumes of vehicles in a certain intersection, etc. So we can then collect the data and put it into kind of a dashboard or report to the business, and so that they can have a very clear view about what's happening, and they can even predict something on top of that based on the historical data. So we do project around 4 themes here. One is the special vehicle lane enforcement. Another, second is the network performance and monitoring. And also we have incident detection and management systems. And also some safety related project, which is the priority number 1 of Auckland Transport. So safety is priority number 1. And this week is happened to be the Road Safety Week of Auckland Transport, or Auckland. So that's be a road safety hero in Tamako Makauro. This is a really nice picture I got from our website of AT. I will showcase a few real examples that we did in AT using our computer vision technology to, to do some safety-related projects. One casing is the red light runners. So as you know, the red light runners could be a real problem at some intersections. Could be cause real big issues. Could be sometimes even life death. So it's a real serious problem. So to understand how, or is there any a particular risk for a specific intersection. So we use this technology to install some cameras in the intersection and then also automatically detect the red light runners. And then we can have some kind of report to share with the business. So this is an example that the technology pick up the red light runner event. So so the technology has detected the red light, the traffic light has turned red. However, this vehicle keep on driving through the pedestrian crossing, which is really a risk for the pedestrians. And such cases actually happens a lot if you don't have the technology in place. Based on the incident, we can obviously run a report to the safety team. Another project related to safety is the railway level crossings. Here I have an example of showing what's the risk of crossing the railway level crossing when the red light is on. As you can see from the left and the right screen, there's a red light. It usually will be flashing if it is red. You can see that it's kind of a on and off. And then obviously there's a train coming, and this lady with her phone and possibly with her headphones on, and she just didn't realize that she's not supposed to walk anymore when the red light is on. So this could be also very risk. Quite a few numbers of people dead because of people are not watching at the traffic light, and then the train just comes in the same time. A few more examples at the railway level crossing. People sometimes just with their headphones and or maybe even watching their phones while crossing the railway level crossing, and then so if you don't have the technology in place, you probably need to hire a person to watch the intersections in 24/7 or at least in the peak hours. But with the technology in place, you don't need to be there at all. You just need to just run the technology in the back end, and we can give a report like this to tell the business how serious this site or this intersection is, and then tell what's the peak of this near misses happens. Another example of the person people on tracks in the railway. As you can see, the person is on the track and it's been detected by the technology, and then in associate with this will be alerts will be triggered into the operator's operator's dashboard, and then we can potentially have a bit of education to this person. Another example is the train taggers detection. Quite often there are some people, I don't know, they comes to the railway and then goes to the train where the train is stopped, and then go and did some graffiti on the train and cause a real problem, because that means we need to spend tens of thousands of dollars to clean the train again. So next user's case is about network performance and the monitoring. I will just show you another video to showcase what it is this about. So in this video, it was It was captured during the American Cups, American 36. I think it was 2020. That was November when it was the event was going on, and then we have a group of students coming to visit the American Cups village. In order to have a clear understanding about the occupants of this American Cups village, we have this technology and then cameras in place to kind of count the passengers or pedestrians enter into this American village, Cups village. So as you can see, this is really crowded scenario, and we have the technology be able to count the vehicle, count the numbers of students very precisely. And then as you can see, actually, we can also detect the cyclists as well. There was a cyclist passing. So there's a bounding box. We call it the bounding box on top of each person, and has a person level, and also has a 95 whatever the percentage of confidence on top of that. And this is cyclists been detected as well. And then later on, I think there was a car driving past, and also detected as a car, I think. So all this detections and trackings and counting is not really for person identification purpose. It's only for counting purpose. You know, we just want to the volume and numbers basically. So there's no personal information detected by this camera. The last user's case I want to share with you is about enforcement. So as you know that we have bus lane and also transit lane and T2, T3 in Auckland. And then here are some examples of buses. The cars, private cars. Driving on the bus lane, and then which they are not supposed to during the operation hours. And also in the bottom, there are some examples of transit lanes. Actually, this picture shows the technology we have deployed in our transit lane enforcement. I will show you a bit later in more details. The special vehicle lane or bus lane enforcement has already, taking in place in Auckland for the last 3 to 4 years, and then we have around probably more than 50 different bus lanes has been fully automated from previously a manual process. This picture actually shows the previous operations of bus lane enforcement. You see that is a parking officer standing on side of the road, and then putting a camera and then standing over there and basically waiting for some people drive on the bus lane, and then they will record it, and then they will take the clips, take the tapes back to the office, and then they edit it, and then issue tickets. So which is a really manual process, and then really time consuming, not efficient. So now we have fully automated. So the operators no longer need to go on site. The parking officer no longer need to go on site. They just sit in the office and then review what we have generated from the CCTV cameras, and then they review the ticket, they review the video evidence, and then if that's a real infringement case, they will issue the tickets to the owner of the car. And also, very recently, we have developed our technology about the transit lane and enforcement. This is really something, a big challenge. Actually, it's been recognized as what #1 of the technology goes into production about enforcing the transit lane over the world. The challenge over here is often is the private cars sometimes have a very dark tinted window, so you actually can't even see through the window by human eyes sometimes. So in that case, we have to use a specialized camera to detect the to count the person all the occupants in the car. As you can see from here, in the middle of the pole, there's a black box. In this black box, it has a special types of cameras, which is a near infrared illuminator and also a camera to capture when the vehicle is passing by the unit. It will take a few snapshots, and then from that snapshots we can somehow, it's not 100% clear, but somehow we can use the AI to count the person or count the passengers in the car. And then with all this unit, we have a radar, and we have also have a sync camera on the top of the pole, and we have a networking unit and port unit, and we have a security camera to look after this entire pole as well. With those a combination of the hardware, software, AI in the back end, and also the relocatable unit, we can put this unit into multiple poles if we need to transition into different zones. So this now is working pretty well in Auckland in quite a few different zones, and we are now rolling this out to wider Auckland. This is the user's case I want to share with you today. I'm pretty sure you have a few questions around the technology we used over here. I didn't really go into much of details about how the technology works, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm more than happy to share with you. Thanks. I'll hand back to Ninda, I suppose.
Thanks, Derek. That's awesome, and it's just a wee snippet of some of the things that we are doing here at Auckland Transport. We call it business technology because our IT and technology teams really partner with the business. Some of the amazing innovation that they're all working on, you'll know obviously from Derek's examples, but we also work with what we call Auckland Transport Operations Centre. So we work with New Zealand Police, we work with Waka Kotahi, and we work with other organisations around incidents on the road. So there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff happening with Auckland Transport at the moment. So this has been a great opportunity just to showcase some of that. We also recently changed our selection process and criteria, and we dropped the GPAs because we felt, and we're really committed to inclusion and diversity here at Auckland Transport, and we had a really great response last year to that in that selection process. So that's probably it. We would love some questions. Don't be shy. There's a whole bunch of really talented but very real people working here at Auckland Transport. So please fire some questions through if you can.
Yeah, I have a question.
Hey, Max, thank you for that.
No worries. One of the big parts I'm struggling with is putting my CV together. So I was wondering, what do you guys look for in your applicants?
That's a great question. And it's really about showcasing you, and it's really hard to do that on paper sometimes. So we want to see not just your academic achievements, but what your interests are, any achievements that you've made outside of that academic arena. So any volunteer work, what your passion is, what you can also put on there any work experience that you might have had, and don't minimize that. If it's volunteering with children or anything like that. So we know that as a graduate, it's really hard to create a CV because you're just starting your career, and there's some great templates on different websites like Seek and things like that, but it's really just about giving us a taste of you as an individual, the whole you. Does that help?
Yeah, no, it's really good, thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? Oh,
Hi.
Ryan. Oh, sorry. Yep. Go for it. Hi.
Hi, my name is Pew. I have a question. Is the Auckland Transport provide intern opportunity for the student as well?
Yes, many of our graduates this year, we started as interns over the summer holidays, and in actual fact, we encourage that, but we're flexible. So we worked with those graduates in terms of what their availability and their needs were. So yes, absolutely. And we've also got interns working across the organisation. We also partner with a few organisations such as First Foundation. So we have scholars that work with us. Tuputawa, we have interns that work through that, and then we've got direct interns that work with the organisation. So that's a really good question, Pew. Now, Ryan popped one in the chat, and I think it was about the number of roles that we have to fill. So we last year we actually increased our graduate or our Kaihoe intake by 50%. So currently we have 60 graduates in our organisation, and that's actually across 2 cohorts. But we're also looking at numbers for next year and potentially increasing our numbers. So I can't give you an exact number. We're really committed to growing our own talent, and we've just had some amazing graduates through our business. So we're actually looking to increase that, and that the reverse mentoring that takes place is absolute gold. So once we activate, we will pop those numbers and various areas and functions of the business on that website that I've shared. But we also, we take expressions of interest from our leaders around those that have the capacity and the need to grow talent. And so it can sort of flex and tweak based on your degrees, your background, and trying to place you in the best place in the business. Any other questions?
What is the application process like?
Yeah, it's on the website. So we've simplified it as much as we can. It is pretty onerous, as most are, but we try and keep it real, and it's really, we want you guys to shine. So we'd start with a CV and a brief cover letter, and we'd ask you for your achievements and aspirations for working for Auckland Transport. That's about 250 words. We then review that. So it's kind of like a funnel. As I said, we then pop through a Q&A for shortlisted candidates. And that's what we call a situational judgment questionnaire. So it's really cool, and it's new, and we actually won an award last year in terms of our graduate program and diversity. So we removed GPAs, we introduced these situational judgment questionnaires, and that's where we share with you real examples of what life is like at Auckland Transport, and we ask you to comment on what you might do in that scenario. So that gives us a chance to obviously review you, but you can also review what life might be like here. So real situations, real scenarios, and real questions and opportunity for information. We then do some gamified online testing, and then video interviews, and then we run an assessment centre. So we bring you up to Auckland. We had to do that virtually, obviously, last year. So that was a real challenge for us to try and create that connection with you guys online, because I think that coming into the office is gold. That's where you get the vibe and get to meet some of our amazing people, get to see what we do in real life. And then we do reference checks and roles are offered.
Hello. Is this process just for the graduates, or is this for the summer interns as well?
No, we have a slightly, I guess, refined process for interns. And then what we would do is many of our interns roll onto our graduate program. So then we might run a mini process at that stage as well. So it'll be portions of that, but again, it's more suited to the needs. And as an intern, you will have experienced our organisation, so you'll have more of an idea, maybe not, of the area that you've got the most interest in at that time. What I will say, Max, though, is the program is really designed to give you really broad exposure to Auckland transport,
Yeah.
because I know, and this was a very long time ago for me, but when I started my career, I've probably changed career direction about 3 times. I had no idea that I'd be doing this now.
Yeah.
I had an idea of what it might look like, but the exposure that you get to opportunity here is incredible, and you'll meet great leaders along the way that you think that's I want to model myself on them. And so the whole design of the program is to give you that opportunity to absorb, learn, and have that exposure
Right.
across our business. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for the questions, guys.
I was wondering if you're looking to hire any more widely than just business technology.
Oh,
For example, like
absolutely.
transport planning.
Yeah.
or-
Yeah, absolutely. So our program is organisational wide. So we hire transport planners, engineers, project engineers. We hire obviously HR, customer experience. We're doing a huge amount of work in customer experience, and that's from data and analytics to customer insights through to marketing, consumer marketing. I'm working on our employment brand marketing. So we hire, and all of that's on that website, Lily. So jump onto the website, and actually on the website there is a PDF. If you open that, it's not extensive in terms there's more opportunity, but we tried to give you a little taste, and that kind of showcases some of the different areas that as a graduate you can join Auckland Transport, and also listen to Doris, Bailey, Salma, some of our current grads, and they'll talk you through sort of the areas that they work in. We have a multi-community engagement and policy team. Yeah, there's just so much. It's really hard to, in 1 hour, showcase it all.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, Lily.
There's someone post in the chat about the question.
Oh, let me have a look. Thank you for that. Internships, some of the standout things you'd be looking for. Much the same as the graduate program, but with interns, often you're still completing your study. So it's just that passion for transport, the road or the vision for 0 fatalities and injuries on the road. A real interest. What's really important to us, and I have to say, until you're working at Auckland Transport, you really don't get a sense of the people that work here are here because they want to create a future for Tamaki Makaurau, an amazing city for people to easily and safely journey. And so there's a real passion for that worthwhile, meaningful work and creating an environment and a transport system for the future. So that's kind of the thing. It's more that cultural fit for us, and culture is huge here at Auckland Transport. So, and we're a learning culture as well. So for graduates, it's amazing, and interns also. You're welcome, Ryan. Well, you can second-year software. Yes, absolutely. As I said, many of our interns then transition across into the graduate program. So yeah. We obviously we welcome any talent into the business. What kind of project will a software intern student do? I have to hand that over to Derek. I probably won't do it any justice. Derek, can you answer that one?
Sure. Thanks, Linda. So I guess the software would be falls into the business technology department, and we do have a few teams that doing the software development work. Especially, we have a few external teams who work with us, together on some softwares and applications. I'm not sure which particularly areas that software development, or just in general that you want to have some ideas about the software development life cycle or delivery, that kind of experience, or that So in my team, as an example, so we do have a software development team, but it's more about, to develop a software that works for AI and computer vision. So it kind of brings two topics together. So one is the software engineering and development experience, and also application of computer vision and AI. Yeah, it's a really good combination that allows you to have not only just in general that the software development experience, and also you would cover off some of the application level and the like the subject matters about the computer vision, etc. Yeah, so in terms of the internship, I think we quite often have a few, not many, but a few each year to accept the internships for a short period of time, like a month or two, to stay with the team, to just to get a taste of what a real project team, how they are working, basically.
Thanks, Derek. So Harriet is just trying to get on, but with no luck. So perhaps if Aaron can help her, or Bella, that would be awesome. We've got some pretty tight security. Derek would know this, and sometimes we've been using Teams, so Zoom we can have a few glitches with, but
Yeah.
So issue, sorry, I was just on the phone.
Oh, sorry, that's good. Harriet's just struggling to get onto the Zoom meeting. So if you could help her, that would be amazing.
Yep. Pretty much all you have to do is just log into an account. It doesn't have to be any sort of account. Just literally Google anything. It automatically makes it for you if you.
Okay, I'll do that. So I'll just pop myself on mute. Are there any other questions for Derek while I do that?
Yep, I've got a similar question as the last one. What kind of project would a mechatronics engineer be working on?
Sorry, the mechatronics engineer.
Yeah.
That's a really good question, Max. Mechanics. I think it depends on the skill set you have. Then I think I'm afraid I'm not be able to give you a very direct answer to you, but I guess we previously have a mechanics engineer working in my team. He is a PhD, so his background is mechanics, but he got some experience with AI and computer vision and machine learning as well. So that works pretty well. So it's really hard to say based on your subject or discipline, but it's meaning about your experience and also the hands-on capabilities that you have.
Yeah, with mechatronics, obviously it's relatively new. So we have had one graduate come through previously, but again, yeah, as Derek said, a lot of it will be around what your interest is moving and using that degree, and relative to all of the innovation that we've got going on at Auckland Transport. So we could absolutely take that question offline if you wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank
cool.
So I had a question for Derek.
Sure.
You mentioned that part of the business analytics involved spatial analysis. I was wondering, do you see this aspect of work growing within Auckland Transport?
You mean the geospatial analytics, right?
Yeah. Analysis, sorry.
Yeah, it is absolutely in a great demand in AT because we are now moving a lot of things into the GIS platform. The more we're adding, the more specialists or developers we would need. Actually, it's quite difficult to find a very good geospecialist developer in Auckland or in the IT market in New Zealand. So I would say if you want to develop some skill set or experience in this, I think that's a very good opportunity ahead.
Do you think that Auckland Transport would offer those opportunities like through internships and through graduate positions?
I can't commit anything, but why not?
Yeah, again, absolutely, we're open to, and so we designed the graduate program. It's a really new, innovative way. We've looked at obviously the growth and development, and it's all around learning for our graduates. So next cab off the rank is a more formal design for the internships, because we're seeing more and more appetite coming through. So we will be absolutely working on that. But if you're interested in an internship, just flick us through a note via the website and we can pick up a conversation with you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Samuel. I think we've got Harriet on the line now.
Hello.
Hi.
We do, yes.
Good
Hello,
morning.
everyone. Good morning. Apologies for that. Technology always never fails to amaze. Yeah. Yes.
All good. Are you ready just to do a wee intro in terms of your role and a quick overview of integrated networks? So Harriet is one of our amazing female leaders at Auckland Transport, and she's recently joined us from Transport for London in the UK with some amazing experience there. So she's going to talk you through sort of those capital programs of work and projects. So I'll hand over to Harriet, won't steal her thunder, and then we can do a Q&A session with her also.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Linda. Better late than never. Yes, so as Linda mentioned, I sit within the Integrated Networks Division in AT, which basically is where we deliver all of our major capital programs and projects. So my role is two-part really. One is overseeing the program management function within Auckland Transport, and it's a relatively new function. So it's where we deliver some of the really big, chunky, strategic programs in our capital pipeline. So things like Eastern Busway, rolling out safe speeds across the entire network across Auckland. Also things like city centre redevelopment, and also with my other hat on, things like developing the cycling network in Auckland, which is very political and very, very challenging, but also super rewarding. Because we all want to see a more livable, healthy, environmentally friendly city going forward. So that's really where I sit, and it's a really brilliant space to be in. My history, though, Linda mentioned I came from London. I predominantly worked in the railways, actually. So by background, I'm a geographer and a transport planner, and I fell into the world of wonderful world of transport almost by accident after university. One of my old geography buddies ended up getting on a graduate program at Transport for London. He was hooked, and all of his stories made me very jealous. So I immediately applied. I was very lucky to get a spot on their training program, and spent the best part of a decade over there, delivering and planning a number of really complex railways, actually. So one of the ones most recently, you might see in the news quite soon, the Queen will open it, hopefully, in a few weeks, and that's the latest tube line in London. It's called the Elizabeth line after the Queen, and that's what I've been working on for the last 3 or 4 years before coming to Auckland. So it's incredible, actually, in transport, how you can really leave a legacy. So, you know, forevermore, I'll be showing that to my grandkids and their kids and saying how amazing it was to deliver that. And we'll also do the same in Auckland. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions or go into further detail as well. Great.
Thanks, Harriet. So would you have any questions around some of those projects, how they might work, team? Again, really happy to answer any questions.
Mm. Yeah, no worries if you don't. I know it's a lot of information to take in. You've had a couple of presentations already, but I would say maybe just some tips. I would say that I've got a few tips really for those of you who are kind of going to enter into the workforce soon. And just reflecting on this ahead of the call, I remember being in your shoes years ago, and I think there's 3 things in my mind actually that I'd really recommend or advise really in the next steps. I mean, one is follow your passions. And you know when you're passionate about something because you can't stop thinking about it. You're almost drawn to the subject matter. You know, you get excited. Like follow that. Trust your gut in that respect, and follow those passions. And The second is get outside of your comfort zone as much as you possibly can. So whether that's doing a presentation or going to meet someone you've never met before, or going to a different city to explore, do things like that, because it can ultimately allow you to understand what you don't want to do as well as what you do want to do. And I think that's really important when you're kind of mapping out your careers. And the third is really is just to back yourself. I think you've just got to, like I said, you've got to trust your gut, and you will make mistakes, and you will go into certain roles that aren't necessarily right for you, but that's okay. And there's always kind of lessons to be learned. So you've got to kind of stay positive and back yourself as you develop through your career, because you will end up in amazing roles eventually.
Thanks, Harriet. Well, so we've got a little bit of time, and if there's no more questions, what I can do is share my screen, and I can just share a little video around Auckland Transport, and it gives you some of the it's by no means encapsulates all the amazing innovation and things that we do, but it gives you a taste of what we do. Are we happy to end on that, Bella and Aaron?
Yeah, that's all good for us.
Great. Let me know once you can see my screen.
And we can see your screen now as well.
Awesome. And
We can't hear the sound on that though.
oh, sorry. Okay. Can I mute?
So-
I can't see where I can mute.
So stop sharing your screen for a second.
Okie dokie. Bear with me. How do I do that?
Just click the middle green. It should stop sharing, I think.
The which one?
The middle where you click share screen. In the middle.
Yeah, I've lost it.
Hold on.
That's
Yours. That should have stopped you. No.
Cool. Thanks for the help.
Everyone can see my there we go. Cool. That should stop that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can go stop sharing. Cool. So now when you hit share on the bottom left-hand side, they'll say share with audio. They hit share, the green button.
Share, yeah.
And then bottom left, it should say share with audio.
Share sound. Gotcha. Okie dokie. Thanks, Aaron. Right, start again. Oops, that's not what I want to share. Got that?
Yep.
Kia ora, I'm Shane Allison, the Chief Executive at Auckland Transport. Auckland is Australasia's fastest growing city and the economic powerhouse of New Zealand. At Auckland Transport, we're keeping the region moving and building a transport system for the future. In this video, you'll learn about how Auckland Transport works, how we relate to our partners, and how we prioritise the work we do.
Nearly 2,000 people work for Auckland Transport. We're one of 5 Auckland Council CCOs, council-controlled organisations. But we're a little different than the others because we were created under statute. We have our own board and governance structure and get our funding from a number of sources, including from central government via the New Zealand Transport Agency, from Auckland Council via rates, and from the Auckland Regional Fuel Tax. Transport is Auckland Council's largest area of investment and the government's 4th largest area of investment. This reflects the size and importance of maintaining and developing the transport network in Auckland. AT is accountable to the Auckland Council and our own board of directors. Building and maintaining Auckland's transport network is a massive undertaking. We manage $19.1 billion of transport-related assets on behalf of Auckland's ratepayers and taxpayers. The network includes 7,452 kilometres of roads, 41 railway stations, 16 bus stations and 21 ferry facilities. Also 7,137 kilometres of footpaths and 325 kilometres of cycle paths. And of course, we need to build, improve and maintain this infrastructure, providing Aucklanders with the choices they need to move freely and with confidence. We also manage traffic systems and on and off-street parking to help reduce congestion and keep the city moving. Auckland Transport relies on the help of our business partners, contracted operators and construction companies to get the work done and keep the network running. Planning and prioritising what we do is difficult, and there are a number of longer and shorter term plans that provide the framework and mandate for what we do. Every year, Auckland Transport agrees to an SOI, Statement of Intent, with Auckland Council. The SOI prioritises our work for the year ahead and is reported against in our annual report. The SOI sets out such things as targets for public transport boardings, targets for cycle use, congestion reduction, satisfaction levels with public transport, reliability of service, and reduction of fatalities and serious injuries on our roads. Our key focus areas are safety, accelerated mode shift, and walking and cycling. ATAP, the Auckland Transport Alignment Project, was a strategic exercise to align the transport priorities of central government and Auckland Council. ATAP has set out the strategic priorities for transport infrastructure over the next 30 years, supporting the Auckland Council's long-term plan, LTP. ATAP sets out to enable growth of Auckland through new projects and increased efficiency of existing infrastructure. By its very nature, this plan is constantly evolving. The Government Policy Statement, GPS, sets out how the New Zealand Transport Agency invests in land-based transport. This is significant as it helps determine where some of our funding will be directed. The National Land Transport Programme, NLTP, is the plan that outlines these funding priorities. The Auckland Plan is an Auckland Council plan produced in response to growth and the other challenges facing Auckland. Having a clear plan of council spend on infrastructure, community facilities, transport, environmental, cultural, economic and social programs also enables the council to work with central government on how, when and what they will contribute to Auckland's development. The Government Policy Statement on Transport and the Auckland Plan set the strategic direction for the Regional Land Transport Plan. The RLTP is a statutory document that forms Auckland Transport's contract with ratepayers and taxpayers to contribute to the development of Auckland. It was developed following extensive public consultation and aligns the priorities of Auckland Council and the government, setting out a 10-year plan of transport network development. Under the current RLTP, we're planning to spend $28 billion on transport projects and improvements in the Auckland region. Now that's a lot of plans, and although it's important to have everything committed to paper, the personal relationships we have with our major partners and community stakeholders are even more important. The New Zealand Transport Agency, Auckland Council and KiwiRail are the main planning and delivery agencies that we work alongside to develop and improve the Auckland transport network. We also work with the local boards, community groups and with mana whenua to ensure we follow kaitiakitanga to preserve and protect our culture and environment as we prepare Auckland for the future.
Auckland Transport's full of passionate people who want to make Auckland a great place to live, work and play. We have a challenging but vital role to play to enable Aucklanders and visitors to move around our region safely and with confidence. The plans we have for our region are fantastic, but we have to do this in a way that builds relationships with local communities, with our partners and with our funders. Mā te wā.
So hopefully that gives you a sense of the scope and size of what we've got for the future of Tamaki Makaurau. Lots of acronyms there, but yeah, and lots of obviously work and commitments in terms of how we're funded. I think the key really though is, as Harriet said, we've got so many passionate people here, and yeah, we're looking forward to the future that we can create for Tamaki Makaurau. So shall we leave it there?
Amazing. Thanks, Linda. Great presentation, and I hope everyone else enjoyed it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.